This Xfinity Series Driver Changes edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Gametime. Gametime tickets make the perfect holiday gift. Sign up at gametime.co and use promo code CFBX for $20 off. Gametime.co, promo code CFBX.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Because talking racing things is what we are here to do. It is, of course, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. We talked yesterday about the fact that there was a ton of silly season news to talk about. We always, we talk about that as we get down to the end of the season. We're always talking about, oh, yeah, there's definitely going to be a ton of silly season news. Well, that has definitely smacked us in the face over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, last week we were talking about some the actual odds that were out. Books have slowed down on that. So we're going to turn to some of that silly season news. And yesterday we gave you a heaping dose of the Truck Series moves and all the new drivers in new rides there. Today, we will turn our attention to the Xfinity Series where there is equally the same amount of craziness that has jockeyed around and jostled drivers here and there. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, we're going to put a little spin on it as far as how that's going to affect the gambling aspect of it, futures as far as win totals, championship totals. Obviously, the books aren't giving them to us yet, which, by the way, please do so. But, yeah, we'll make sure we tie it in to something relevant. Right, Cody?
Yeah, exactly. We're slowly waiting on the books here. We only got, I think it's 45 days till the Clash of the Coliseum now, which means the season is right around the corner. It's a month and a half. That is nothing. We're almost there. So, yeah, again. Give us some books. So give us some odds books, please. You've been doing a good job. We got a ton of stuff on the Cup side. We've talked about everything that's out. Now we need Xfinity. Now we need trucks. But at least we can catch up on this. Again, get kind of reacquainted with where everybody's going to be because it's much like the Truck Series. The Truck and Xfinity Series, there's a lot of turnover every year, a lot of moving and shaking, a lot of changing. Get guys that are moving up to the Xfinity or to the Cup Series. Get people moving up from the Truck Series we're going to talk about. Quite a few drivers this season have shifted from RCR to JGR or this team to that team or whatever it may be. So a lot of changes to talk about and big name drivers are gone, right? John Nemechek won a ton of races last season and he'll still be racing part-time. So we'll talk about that for sure, but he's going to be in the Cup Series. You have guys like Eric Almirola that are going to be running a good chunk of the season. That's going to be different this year. And so yeah, it's big rides that have changed names. And big drivers swapping all over the place. So a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. And let's face it, that's going to affect how we bet this season because it makes things much different than they were before. So, yeah, it definitely shapes the landscape of how our season will look, who we'll be talking about, how we'll be talking about them. So I'm ready to jump in.
I am ready to jump into. My letter to Santa is already sent off. I sent it off yesterday, and I said, Dear Santa, want more odds for Truck and Xfinity. That's my only wish outside of world peace, but that letter got kind of muffled out. Now all I want are odds.
That letter seems to get lost every year. I guess Santa is not that powerful, but hopefully he can give us the odds at least, because that would be next best thing.
Indeed. All right. Well, I mean, I guess what better way to do it than just jump right into what we're expecting. No change in the 00. The reigning champion Cole Custer will return in the 00, so that's good news for them. The first major change comes in that 2 car. Sheldon Creed no longer a driver of that number 2 car. And I'm sure their team, RCR, is not very heartbroken to see the number 2 departed by Sheldon Creed.
I'd say not.
Yeah, unfortunately, no. So taking his place, though, another young up-and-comer, Jesse Love, is going to be full-time in that number 2 car. This is a pretty exciting move for both parties of this team.
Yeah, absolutely. This was kind of shocking because Jesse Love was a big Toyota driver, and you thought Toyota Racing Development would kind of try and keep him in the stable. Maybe he's going to get a Gibbs ride. Then all of a sudden, boom, he's go over to the 2 car, going to switch to Chevrolet, going to go with RCR. We saw last year how many times did Sheldon get so close to winning races, wasn't quite able to secure the deal, which we'll talk about him in a few, and I think that'll be different this season for him for sure. But we know how strong RCR can be. You saw Sheldon and how well he ran throughout the season, and look what Austin Hill did. I mean, he had an outstanding season. Won 5 or 6 races, I think it was, and was a front runner all season. Ended up not making the championship 4 after some incidents late in the playoff, partially due with his teammate there at the time. He obviously, as we know, not very sad to see Sheldon move on either. But yeah, I think that Jesse Love is one of these drivers that's you had to keep your eye on, right? He came up through ARCA Series, got a few starts here and there in the Truck Series, and did really well in those starts for Tricon. And so, yeah, now jumping full-time into this RCR car, I think he's going to have a strong, solid season. Is it going to be to the level of an Austin Hill? Probably not, but he's extremely talented, and we know this is a good car, so I expect him to be competing. Maybe he ends up getting a win, maybe even 2. I don't think it would be a crazy, far-fetched thing to see, but I think it'll be a strong season for that number 2 car.
Ugh. He was born January 14th, 2005.
Oh.
That, I mean, not even close to 20 yet, right? I mean, this kid is still a kid. Menlo Park, California. So stone's throw away from me.
Hey,
but
at least the number 2 car stays being a California driver, right?
Yes, thank you very much.
He can still be a Canadian via California, I guess.
Jesse Love is my new favorite Canadian that's not a Canadian, that's from California driver.
I mean, Sheldon's not really going anywhere, so he could still be, but at least it's still in the 2 car.
I don't know. He made himself an enemy. But Jesse Love, 10 wins in the ARCA Menards, in the ARCA Menards. So 10 of 20, he won half of the races in the ARCA Menards series last year. 18
it is always tough to determine how good they actually are because those JGR cars are just so good in the ARCA series, but he still won them. I mean, and he looked very impressive doing it. So you definitely have to give him credit for that.
Yeah. 3 top 15s in the Truck Series. He raced at Gateway, finished 9th, Kansas 13th, Phoenix, the last race of the season, finished 4th. I mean, that was a pretty strong showing by him all. And then in the 11 truck he started, and then 2 in that 1 truck. So
filled in for Corey Heim on short notice when Heim was sick at Gateway there. And performed extremely well. We know how good that truck was, obviously, with Heim behind the wheel, but Love was very impressive as well. So again, it's a small sample size. We haven't seen a ton of him, but he seems to be extremely talented. And he's been a guy we've been saying to keep your eye on to watch. I know Door Bumper Clears had him on, and he's been a guy that they've talked about quite a few times. And so, I think that he's definitely going to be one to watch this season. And if he wins a race or 2, I really wouldn't be surprised by it.
Well, and that's my next question then. So if they give us half a win, which I'm assuming that's probably where the line would be set. I mean, where are we even thinking that the lines? I mean, if this were a half a win, I would probably put it at plus 135 for over, and then maybe. Well, I don't know. Do we juice it more to the over or what?
No, I think that's appropriate because it's definitely not a sure thing he wins a race. I mean, Sheldon wasn't able to win one, and we know how talented Sheldon is, and I think we're going to see in JGR equipment. There is still a difference in JGR, JRM, and then RCR is kind of that next tier down. I don't think that even with everything Austin Hill has accomplished, I don't think that they're at the level of the JGRs, the JRMs just yet, which is that program has been around for like 100 years. and has been at the top multiple times throughout the years, of course. But yeah, I think if you're giving me plus money on the over, I might just go that way just for the plus money. But I don't know. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if he wins a race or two by any means. But am I convinced he's going to win one? Yeah, maybe not.
Certainly something we're going to be looking to in the top 10 markets for sure, and maybe some groups and possibly some head-to-heads depending on what they give us. So
Yeah,
definitely keep an eye out for that 2-car and Jesse Love for sure. All right, we got more drivers to talk about, but I want to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. You get NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Thursday night football happening tonight, or it already happened. Maybe you can get in on your Sunday action as well. Pick all of your favorite ones. Check out that little chili. Gives you some spicy outcomes, a little bit of boost to your payouts. So watch along, make your picks, maybe cash a little bit over there on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog's going to double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. All right, so as we continue down the list, the number 4 JD Motorsports Chevy will now be driven by Dawson Cram. Wait, Cody, Dawson Cram. What?
Okay, cool.
No, really though. Is this something to pay attention to?
Is it?
I don't know. Probably not.
No.
You wonder why they make this move anyways in the first place. I mean,
it's likely a sponsored deal, although there's no sponsor listed on J-Skis. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Dawson Cram is fine. That's about the extent of what I have to say about that. I mean, I don't know. This isn't really a great car. The driver is who it is. So, yeah, maybe we'll talk about him on super speedways. Maybe we won't.
Well, 12 Xfinity Series starts, no top 5s, no top 10s. He's made 31 Truck Series starts, including one last season. The same, one ARCA Menard Series, nothing going on there to speak of. Last season, 9 starts for him. Crashed out of Phoenix in the spring, crashed out of Martinsville the following. Smattering of 30th place, 20th place finishes in this various cars, the 74, the 07, the 74. Yeah, just not a lot to write home about for Cram. So that's one that, while it's there, and if you guys know Cram, if you're one of Cram's family members, we have thoroughly covered him and what he brings to the table on that number 4 JD Motorsports Chevy. So let's move on to the 5 car. This one, again, another interesting move. Anthony Alfredo will bring Dude Wipes into that number 5 Our Motorsports Chevy. So Anthony Alfredo was one of those guys that we talked a lot about at the, just in random spots where we knew he was going to be around. We knew he'd be a back marker for the most part. Nothing really to get too excited about. Does this change do anything different to our opinion of where Anthony Alfredo will run next season?
No, I mean, it's still, because he was with Our last year, right? He was just in the 78, but I feel like that was still, wasn't that an Our car?
In the Xfinity Series,
Xfinity Series,
yeah, 2 top 10 finishes last year in the BJ McLeod 78 car.
Yeah. So he's coming. Man, did he race for Our before? I don't know. I can't remember now because I feel like he did. I'm trying to read this real quick.
It was Chris Our, in the 23 car in 2022.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. Because I knew he was with Our before. So I think that we saw that Our can be decent, right? They've had some okay runs before. And Alfredo, I think, is a good driver. Was a full-time Cup Series driver a couple of years ago. I think there's gonna be spots. You're gonna pick and choose some spots, but he might be nice for a juicy top 5 number or throwing him in a matchup or a group here and there. Why he doesn't have some type of pasta Olive Garden sponsorship, I don't know. Alfredo, come on. I mean, Fast Pasta is his nickname, but Dude Wipes, they seem to love him. Wipe off the Alfredo sauce after you're done eating. I guess that's good. Yeah, but again, it's not going to be one of the top drivers all season, but he's definitely at this point he's starting to become a veteran that you can kind of rely on in certain situations at certain tracks, and he'll definitely be a guy to look towards here and there.
Yeah, so for the number 5 car in 2023, it only took 2 races actually last year. It was Jade Buford that drove in both of those, and it was Talladega and Daytona that the 5 car made a start in for Scott Brochetta, and that was so now our car taking over that 5 charter, and Anthony Alfredo will be in that. And look, for Anthony Alfredo, like you said, it's a guy that it's a feel-good story. He's got 3 wins in the Xfinity Series, 15 top 5s in his career. He does have a pole as well, led 24 laps last year. So, not a terrible driver. Average finish of 24.1. Started where he finished, actually. Started at 24th, finished in 24th, 8 DNFs, 2 top 10s. One of those was Martinsville. The other was at Daytona. So,
yeah, and like we talked about yesterday with Timmy Hill, like he's kind of one of those guys that in DFS you really want to target a guy like that because he's going to get you. He's going to finish where he starts, or he's going to get you decent finishes, get it to the end. And again, there were some good runs last season where it is a BJ McLeod car, and you look at it and you're like, wow, he's actually running pretty decent in that car that is kind of underfunded equipment. So, yeah, he is a good driver. So I think that again, it'll be a decent season for him. Will we talk about him all the time? Of course not, but we'll talk about him enough, I think.
Indeed. All right, so let's move over to one of the bigger names in the sport, obviously. The new driver of the 8 car, dropping the 1 and now just keeping the 8, is Sammy Smith, moving over to take over for that number 8 team. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be pretty deadly, I think, in my opinion, because we know how good Sammy Smith was in that 18 car. Now you put him in that 8. Josh Berry's leaving that one. I mean, we know that Josh Berry kind of drove that into the ground last season, and it wasn't necessarily his favorite. It wasn't his favorite season in the sport. I don't think it was anybody's favorite season that bet on him in the sport. But tell you what, you put Sammy Smith in there now, and watch out for that 8 car.
Yeah, I really wish you would have said it Gibbs because as you know, I was very big on the Gibbs Toyotas last year. I'm going to be big on them again this year, and I think Sammy's a talented driver. Again, the top 2 teams are the JGR cars, are the JM cars. These are the fastest cars out there. So yeah, I don't expect it to be like Brandon Jones where he just completely dropped off that season. Transferring from JGR over to JRM. We know that JRM is a solid program. You saw what Sam Mayer put together at the end of the season was great. Allgaier made a run with a chance at the championship there at the end. Barry had an okay season, had his ups and downs for sure. A lot of other stuff going on, filling in for Cup guys all season with injuries. And then, the transition to Ford and the 4 car seemed like a bit of a distraction towards the end of the season. But Sammy Smith, the guy we've been talking about for years, when he was running part-time for JRM a couple of seasons ago, he was a guy we highlighted multiple times, talked about him a lot last season. He did pick up a win early in the season at Phoenix and dominated that race. I expect him to have another solid season. Where would you set his win total? Might even be 1.5, right? Probably. I think that he's that talented of a driver in that good of equipment. And I wouldn't be shocked to see him go over that.
Well, and so he does have a win last season, 15 top 10 finishes in that season as well last year. So, I mean, 1.5 seems about right. And I almost feel like possibly they could set it at 2.5, just given the fact that he is. I don't know. Well, look at
I feel like 1.5. Sorry, he only won 1 lens. See, that's
well, but okay, but
here's remember. And again, looking back at the Cup Series, like they were so light on everybody's win, like they went so small on everything.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So he ended the season with 2 straight poles. He finished 3rd at Martinsville, 9th at Phoenix. He finished 3rd in Texas. The guy was very close toward the end of the season to putting it all together.
Well, and how many times throughout the season, I know this because I bet on him more times than I care to admit, but where he had the fastest car in the race and then it was pit penalty or bad strategy call or this mistake or that mistake, like young rookie mistake. He wasn't a rookie, but young driver mistakes that if he continues to clean those up and progress forward as he should, he can be very dangerous very quickly. I mean, really, I wouldn't be super shocked if all of a sudden he had 4 or 5 wins this season. I think that's, definitely a plus money proposition. But if it happened, I wouldn't be like, whoa, we didn't see this coming. It's out of nowhere. Like, we know that Sammy Smith is that type of talent. We know these cars are that good, that it wouldn't be shocking to see him go win 4 or 5 races all of a sudden.
Should he be within the top 5 championship favorites?
I'm trying to think full-time guys. I think Allgaier Mayer would be above him from the JRM camp. Austin Hill would be above him. And you've
Cole
got
Custer.
Custer, two full-time JGR cars. You're probably still putting above him. So I'd probably put him 7th on my list of where he'll be in the championship odds, which could be the appropriate type of value to bet on someone. Because again, once we get those odds books, if you hurry up, we'll talk about it for sure. But yeah, I mean, he might be kind of that level of just underneath the top tier, quote unquote, drivers, where it gets juicy because you're getting caught. I mean, JRM had 3 of the 4 championship cars 2 seasons ago. They had 2 this past season, because I think Mayer and Allgaier both made it. I mean, they're getting cars in there every year. He's a good, talented driver. So yeah, I kind of hope that's where he's sitting at, 6th or 7th on that list, maybe even a little farther. That's going to be real enticing to want to bet on.
Give me somewhere in the 12 to 14 to 1 range, and I think I'll swoop up just that much, because I feel like that's a good place for him to be as well. All right, excited to see him in JRM. You know how much I love me some JRM, so I guess I'm going to have to be a Sammy Smith fan, which again makes 2 defections from Gibbs to JRM. We'll see how those.
Boy, Junior loves taking the coach's sponsorship money, doesn't he?
Tell you what, love to snipe these guys from him. So we'll see. They'll be back in the same garage. We'll see if that camaraderie.
And it'll be the return of Pilot Flying J to the JRM stable, because they were with, of course, what was his name now? I don't remember. The guy who drove the 1 car for a while. That was the kid of the president, but he retired after he got hurt. And anyways, cool story.
Well, Flying J will be fun to watch flying around the track as well. More drivers to talk about, but I want to tell you about buying tickets to anything, whether it's a concert, whether it is a comedy show, whether it is your 8th grade concerts that you're going to see. Probably not that, but all the rest of that is definitely stressful, and it is not fun, and it is something that I try to avoid at all cost, until the fine folks at Gametime made the buying of tickets a hell of a lot less stressful with all of their fantastic features, including the Gametime guarantee. That tells me that when my tickets are going to be bought, they're going to be on time. They're going to be authentic. I don't have to worry about scammers trying to scam me out of my money to give me fake tickets. I'm going to get low fees. I'm going to get the best prices out there. They got competitive pricing. If you find tickets that are more or less rather than what you paid, you're going to get made up 110% of the difference of that ticket. Plus, this app's made for your phone, which means no fishing through emails to try to find your tickets, no waiting for them in the mail, nothing. You buy the tickets straight off the app. You look for them. They're there. You have them scan it. It's just, this is a whole lot less stressful. Plus, last minute, if you're trying to buy tickets last minute like I tend to do, because I love procrastinating, I love putting stress on myself, well, guess what? I don't have to worry about it anymore, because I'm going to get all the greatest deals on these last-minute tickets. Snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Gametime tickets also make the perfect holiday gift. You got somebody that is difficult to buy for, just buy them some tickets to the stuff they like right there using Gametime, and they will definitely love you more for it. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CFBX for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. You can enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool. You're going to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rates for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, let's continue down this list of drivers. Your favorite racing team of all times is now making a change. The number 11 car is being vacated, and Cody is over there celebrating as much as humanly possible.
Thank God. Thank God.
The driver who shall not be named no longer pilots the number 11. In fact, now our new favorite driver that parks cars no matter where he's at.
Trying to turn me into a colleague fan here.
Might do it too. Might actually have you betting on the 11 a little more this year. Josh Williams will bring Alloy Employer Services over and crew chief Kevin Walter into the number 11 camp, into the colleague family. This one, it's a little shocking, and it's a little, to me, a guy like Josh Williams, I know what he brings to the table. I know the excitement, I know the fan base, and I know probably the sponsor money because of what he did for himself. But the question I ask you, Cody, because obviously you've been a long time fan, did the hype from last season make that, or was this something that was in the mix for a while?
He took advantage of the opportunities afforded to him based on things that happened, right? I think there's not a big secret. And Josh Williams is a good driver. He's always been in subpar equipment, and he's done a decent job with what he's had. So it'll be interesting. Some people just really like to sniff colleague a little hard sometimes. And it's like, are they really that good? I mean, outside of a few glimpses here and there, AJ at road courses, I get it. We're going to talk about the other person that's going to be racing for them in a little bit here, and that leans into it as well. I believe our buddy Skybox NASCAR had posted that they were going to be a powerhouse. I don't know if he was referring only to road courses, because I think that's the only place it's applicable for. Sorry, Mark, but I just don't see it outside of that. But I don't know. I'm very excited for him. I love Josh. I think he's a great personality. I think he's great for the sport. He's got a lot of fans. I think it's exciting to see him step up in a ride for sure. Is he going to have the best season ever? Probably not. I mean, we really haven't seen that great of seasons. AJ won the regular season title a couple of seasons ago, right? And AJ is just kind of a next level driver. You throw in all the opportunities at road courses he gets and the wins he can rack up there to help out. Now he did fine on ovals as well, but with Josh, I look for him at super speedways for sure. Colleagues, got a very good history of being good at super speedways. Josh has been pretty good at super speedways in the past. Outside of that, it's going to be more one of those things where you're going to have to kind of prove it to me before I'm really going to want to go out on a limb and throw money down. Especially, at least in the past, we've not really gotten top 10s for Xfinity. If we were getting some top 10 odds, I might look a little more. Top 5s, though, that's where you're really pushing it for this car, I think.
Yeah, and again, no top 5s for him as a driver at all in his 8 seasons. He's not a spring chicken. I mean, he's going to be 30 years old this year. He'll be 30 years old.
Again, talk about guys that plug along for a long time and they kind of get an opportunity. It's really great to see. You love to see it. And you look at guys like Ross Chastain. I mean, he was starting parking cars. He was doing this. He was doing that, just jumping anything he could. And look where he's at now, right? And you love the story and you love to see it. Is this that same story? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Now, 11 top 10s in his career as well. Last season in the 92 car, average finish of 23.3, 6 DNFs, 3 top 10s. So, yeah, I mean, nothing to write home about. I want to see it. He finished 15th at Daytona to start the season. Pretty much what the best thing you could hope for on a team like that to start the season off within the top 15. Really, 10th at Talladega. So you talked about it, just as his ability to finish well at super speedways is great. 9th in Atlanta, 8th at Loudon. So
can you imagine the party? A guy with a mullet wins at Talladega. Like,
let's go,
oh, buddy.
That's the script right there. Wait, Talladega Nights, really Josh Williams styles. All right, let's move on to the next one on the list, and that is the number 15 AM Racing Ford. This is where we now see Hailie Deegan become a full-time Xfinity driver. She is no longer going to be a Truck Series driver. This is all now her gambling on herself. And the number 15 in the AM Ford Racing is going to take a chance on her as well. The thing about Hailie Deegan, and we've talked about this over the course, right? And Hailie knows. Hailie knows that she expects more out of herself. I know everybody that's ever employed her does expect the best out of her as well each and every week. But there are so many obstacles already for a driver to be successful, right? And then, unfortunately, we do live in a world where sometimes the gender makes it a little even bigger obstacle to make that success. So she's had to overcome that. She's had to overcome her own shortcomings. And really, now that she gets to become a full Xfinity Series driver, a full-time driver in this series, maybe, just maybe, this new pairing, this new opportunity for her can help eliminate some of those other roadblocks that were getting in her way, and that she can turn something more successful into what we're all hoping for as a successful career.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for her to get this opportunity. I think if you look at, she's got really high expectations because she is the woman in the sport, and she's just like Danica and other women before her. All eyes are on her. Like, what's she going to do? What can she do? And she's been hyped up, and she gets the sponsorship opportunities, and she's got the name. I mean, look at her daddy. He's, who doesn't know Brian Deegan, right? And so there's been a lot of unfair expectations placed on her. I think if you look at what she's done, she's had a pretty solid career through the Truck Series. The Truck Series is tough, and they talk about it on the broadcast. You can see it. Like, there's a lot of pay to play in the Truck Series. There's some in the Xfinity, but it's more toned down. A lot of it in the Truck Series, you get a lot of guys who are just out there going crazy. How many times was she having a good run and running in the top 10, and then, she gets caught up in a wreck, or, she gets spun out, or this or that. I think getting away from that and out of the Truck Series is going to help her a lot. We saw this team be pretty good with Brett Moffitt in the 25 last season. They had some solid runs with Brett. I think that's a positive. It's not a Stewart-Haas car like maybe you'd hope. So is she going to run up front? No, because of the equipment she's in more so than just the talent. But, can she be 10th to 15th place every week? I think that's realistic for her. Get some top 10s. Maybe she'll squeak out a top 5 or 2 here and there. I think that would be a solid season for her in this car. So, again, I'm really excited to see her get this opportunity, kind of the next step. Maybe she does really well in this and then gets an opportunity in, the 98 or the 00 if one of those guys moves up or moves on in Stewart-Haas equipment here eventually. But, again, obviously I think both of us want to see her in the Cup race someday, and we think she can succeed there. So hopefully this next stepping stone goes well for her. Again, you're going to bet on her to win the championship or anything like that? No, I don't think so. I think even getting a win would probably be pretty surprising, but I think we'll see her in that 10 to 15 range most weeks. I think that's a good place for her. And I think that, again, this series and kind of taking that next step with this should be really good for her. And I hope to see her have a great season.
Yeah, again, it's just a matter of, this is one where we're just going to keep an eye on maybe some head-to-heads. Maybe we'll wait until a couple of races into the season to see how she sort of settles in to the new environment, to the new ride. You talked a lot about Brett Moffitt being decent enough in this, and that's really what you're kind of looking at. It's now the equipment has gotten, to the point where she can compete. Brett Moffitt was able to compete, if not for wins every week, but if you can outdrive and outperform the equipment that you're in, then you're going to get noticed. And I think that's the opportunity she's going to be given. I think that's the opportunity she's got to take care of. So yeah, this is not one where we're going to touch any futures if they even offer it to us, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it as we go here throughout the season. So one that's not necessarily a giant change, but AJ Allmendinger obviously keeping his ride in the 16.
Well, yeah, I mean, is he keeping it? Is he?
Coming
in the
back
Xfinity Series, right? He's coming back to it, and like I just mentioned a minute ago, the 2022 regular season champion. I'm pretty sure he won that. I believe he did, but yeah, I mean, obviously road courses right away, right? He's got to compete with AJ Allmendinger Jr., aka Sam Mayer, with all the wins we saw him pull off at the end of the season. But yeah, you're going to circle him right away on most of the road courses. And he did pretty good on the ovals as well. We'll talk about it a little more tomorrow on the Cup Series show, but it was announced yesterday he's going to be driving the Daytona 500 in the Cup car. So it seems like the Cup car is going to be probably a mixture of people that would lead you to believe AJ probably runs full-time Xfinity, probably runs the Cup Series road courses. You would imagine that's what they'll do. That's what he did when he was full-time in Xfinity 2 seasons ago. Xfinity just seems like a better place for AJ. I think he's happier there. He can be more competitive. And it's one of those things where, certain guys just fit in certain series. And with Justin Allgaier, he doesn't want to move up to the Cup Series, and he wouldn't fit in the Cup Series. He's perfect to compete where he's at in the Xfinity Series. You see it with Matt Crafton in the Truck Series, Frank Kimmel for a long time in the ARCA Series. It's just certain guys are better at certain levels. And I think this is a good spot for AJ. They tried it out in the Cup Series. Shit, he got a Cup Series win last season, so it wasn't a complete failure by any means. But I think Xfinity is where he's happiest. I think it's where he's going to compete the most. And so I think it's going to be a good, solid season for him. You'll be real interested to see where a win total sits on him, right? Because the Xfinity Series, there is 6-7 road courses on there. Is he going to win all of them? Probably not, but you got to think he's going to win at least 2, maybe 3 of those. So you kind of chalk that up automatically. Can he get a oval or 2? He's really good at super speedways. Probably talk about that when we talk about betting on the Daytona 500. So yeah, AJ is going to be a guy that we're going to talk about a lot throughout the season, and likely he's going to come up almost on a weekly basis because he is going to be a top running car for the most part. Again, Colleague is not some powerhouse again all of a sudden. I definitely don't think that, but AJ has proven that he can really cut it in the Xfinity Series, and I think that this is the perfect place for him. I think it's where he'll be happier at, and I think he's one of those super emotional guys, and when he's happier on the track, I think that's going to help his performance. I think we saw that at times this past season in the Cup Series where he wasn't having fun anymore. That's why we thought maybe he would retire. Let's go back where we were having fun at and kind of build on the success they had just 2 seasons ago.
And honestly, the whole purpose of anything in life is just, where do you feel comfortable? And I don't even fault him for not feeling comfortable in the Cups. There's a lot of pressure. I mean, there's a lot of undue sometimes pressure in the Cup Series. And if you can just find the place where you're happy, and if that's so I will say this, because I was thinking this the whole time. Like, we went heavy on Cole Custer last year, thinking he was going to come back and completely dominate the Xfinity Series. I don't have that same. Rod. I don't have that same high expectation as far as it, because we saw obviously AJ Allmendinger do it a couple of seasons ago when he won the regular season. But I will say that if they set this number at around 3.5, I'm probably looking at the over, because I think that he could actually. Now, I'm not setting it all the way up to 10, but I definitely will be interested in this. And then, of course, even the series champion. Like, I would even look at maybe if he was anywhere in the 5-1, 6-1 range, could be something worth taking a look at when the odds drop. I don't know if that's too low or too high, but
that's too low for me. But he won the regular season title 2 years ago. So, I mean, to get to that position, you're setting yourself up pretty good. A calling car at Phoenix at the end of the season. Do you want to roll your dice there? But maybe you do. I don't know. I mean, it's, again, once you get there, anybody can win it. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where his numbers are at. And yeah, I mean, we saw him, right? He skipped was a Cup practice and qualifying somewhere to go run. Gosh, which one was it? Portland maybe, or one of the other one. And he ended up having a shitty day there. Like, it's not a guaranteed thing he just wins all the road courses by any means, especially with the, Sam Mayer, how we've seen him come out. If you get Cup guys dipping back down, the Larsons, or Eric Almirola beat him at Sonoma in that crazy race in that car. So yeah, it's not a foregone conclusion, but I'd expect AJ to visit victory lane a few times and definitely be a guy we talk about a lot.
I was going to say, he's going to make us enough money over the course of the season that you'll hear him plenty out of our mouths. All right, let's go to the landing spot of the vacant number 2 car, or at least the vacated number 2 car. Sheldon Creed is now in the number 18 car for Joe Gibbs, taking over for Sammy Smith, who Sammy Smith now goes to JRM, and it's the coconut shell game.
Musical chairs.
Musical chairs. All right,
And
Cody.
Matt Benedetto's the one left when the music's still playing. Call back to yesterday.
There's hold on. What car is actually the 08 cars is available? The 07
There you
car.
go. Maybe he'll get in there. Oh, you got to bring sponsorship for that car, so he's out.
That's true. All right, Sheldon Creed, no sponsor as of yet, but he is definitely the driver of the number 18 car. Does he finally get a win?
Yep, he's getting at least two to 5 wins for Sheldon Creed this season.
Whoa,
he is going, dude. These JGR cars. How many times did I say it last year, Rod? These are the fastest cars. These are the best cars. You're putting a very good driver in Sheldon Creed. He almost won 5 races last season, right? He didn't win any of them, but he was so fucking close so many times. He is going to win races in this car. These JGR cars are fast. You're putting in an experienced guy in Sheldon Creed. There's only one driver I like more than, as we go through this list, than Sheldon Creed. Spoiler alert, it's going to be his teammate. But Sheldon Creed is going to be I tell you already, I'm all over JGR yet again this season. I have a feeling we're going to go through the season once again arguing in the Xfinity Series. I absolutely love this landing spot. I think that this is a great opportunity for Sheldon. I think that we're going to see him take it to max level, and it's going to be like, whoa, just that little bit he was missing at RCR, the not being able to complete it out. We're going to see that switch flipped, and he wins multiple races this season. So I don't know what you're setting his win total at. He's never won a race, so can you go much more than 1.5? I don't think you probably could. So give me the over on that, because I love it, and we're going to see Sheldon Creed in victory lane. Those big glasses, maybe the puppy dog face doesn't look so sad anymore. So yeah, love me some Sheldon Creed in JGR equipment this year.
Well, and this is where if you and I ran a book, I would probably set this at 2.5, because I know
I'd kill you at 1.5.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You're trying to keep your doors open.
At 1.5, there's just no, and I would take the over on 1.5 easily. I think 2 wins is good. 2.5 is where I would even start to kind of waffle, because
I'd still probably take the over.
It would have to be a very good number.
You got to get a good number, yes, but he's gonna have a good season.
But see, here's the thing: at 2.5, I may not even just take it. I may not even put.
Right.
You know,
you're much more. Yeah, at 1.5, I'm no doubt in my mind I'm taking the over.
Yeah.
But at 2.5, you're definitely pausing at least.
Because you know that 1.5 is a plus. It has to be a plus money. There's no way that it could not be a plus.
Well, he's never even won a race. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're looking at pretty good at 1.5. And if it's over a half, or just 1/2 race, if it's just a half a race, and they give kind of meh, still take the meh at over a half, because he's definitely getting 1. That's for sure. So, and we're going to talk about him all season like we did last season.
Oh yeah, likely weekly we'll be talking about him.
All right, let's talk about this 19 car, because it is going to continue to be a revolving door of drivers. Truex will be back. Ryan Truex, not Martin.
We got a win last season.
Yeah, in that 19. So Ryan Truex will be back in that. Joe Graff paying to play in that 19.
Those are the races you don't bet on this car.
Exactly. But 2 names make their first appearances on this number 19 team. One of the Gray brothers, the more talented one, Taylor Gray. And William Sawalich, who we talked a lot about in the Truck Series as well. So this will be fun to watch those 2 young drivers get a chance to show their.
As much as I love Taylor Gray, Sawalich, when he gets in this car, he's going to be at a number that's going to be worth betting on him to win races. It's going to be worth betting on him to get top 5s, and he's going to be good. He is a very, very good up and coming driver. Toyota's really hit it with this guy. I don't think they'll let him walk as easily as they did with Jesse Love, but. Yeah, when Sawalich is in this car, when Truex is in this car, it is a race-winning capable car on a week-to-week basis. When Graff's in this car, you just avoid it. He can have some decent runs. He had a couple of okay runs last season. Half the time he's out to lunch. He really is. Most of these drivers are paying to play, but he's really paying to play for this one. And then with Gray, I'll be interested to see some numbers. I think he'll have solid runs. Is he going to be in the mix to win? We haven't quite seen that in the Truck Series just yet, so I don't know if we'll get there. But I think he could have some good, solid runs, and these are the fastest cars in the field every week. Last season, I expect that to be the same in 2024. So we'll definitely be betting on this 19 car probably a majority of the time, unless Graff is in it.
Well, and for Sawalich, we talked about how fast he was. Unfortunately, the finishes sometimes did not mirror what needed to happen. But he did finish 10th at Richmond after starting third. Here's the thing about him. He qualified well, right? Mid-Ohio, he started 8th. Richmond, he started 3rd. IRP, 10th. Milwaukee, 12th. I mean, these are all good, solid top 10, if not top 15 starts. Bristol, he started 9th. Again, young driver, though, you get caught up in stuff. He did finish 9th at Martinsville. He finished 10th at Richmond, 6th at IRP, and then 26th and 30th over in Milwaukee and Bristol. But again, really promising because he did look like he was running very well each and every week he was there. So definitely excited to see William Sawalich get a shot. And this is a guy that kind of got fast-tracked, right? I mean, obviously not that many starts in the Truck Series, 6 total. I think he's a kid, right? He's not. 2006 is when he was born. So a young driver that getting fast-tracked up the series.
Yeah, he's on the faster track than Corey Heim, I think, because it was kind of similar where Heim ran part-time and won a couple races, won Rookie of the Year on only 16 starts. And then Sawalich, last season comes in and runs a couple of races in the Truck Series, does really well. He gets a ride. Why Corey Heim is not racing any of these races, I still don't understand. Why he didn't get one of these rides, I still don't understand. But that's okay. We're going to bet on him a lot in the Truck Series. But yeah, this 19 car is going to be solid, especially with all those guys other than Kraft, really.
Yes, sir. We talked about Taylor in the Truck Series episode yesterday about how well he did there. A lot of great top 10 runs. Didn't always finish there, but he was always in the top 10, top 15 for the most part. Average finish of 14.6, 6 top 10s, 3 top 5s in his 20 starts in the Truck Series. Remember, he was too young to actually race in some of those races because he was still taking finals and going to a senior prom. So
exactly
excited to see him race in that 19 and see what he can do. All right, let's move over to the next driver that is changing.
You want to do the 20 car quick? I mean, I think it's worth mentioning. So John Hunter is going. He ran that car full time last season. He's going to split time. He's obviously going to be full time in the Cup Series with Legacy, and it's good to see him still having the relationship with JGR here. He is only on his second full time season, so he's not limited to the 5 races. Won't be able to run the Dash for Cash races. Will run the playoff races. So Eric Almirola will run those races. This is a car we're going to be looking to bet every single week. It says these two are expected to make up the majority of the schedule. So I don't know if that leaves room for a Ty Gibbs, hopefully, to run some of these races, maybe. Or if Danny wants to come down and run any, or Chris Bell. But I think if that's the type of rotation you're talking about in this car, you're going to be talking about the 20 car each and every week. Somebody made a really good point, and I can't remember who it was that I was listening to, but Eric Almirola could turn into an Elliott Sadler type in this car, where Sadler had a long Cup Series career, was a good driver, won occasionally, and had a solid career, and then he stepped back into JRM equipment in that one car and really was kind of a top of the board every year type of guy. Almirola, it's only going to be part-time this season, but you could see that we're in a couple of seasons from now. The kids get a little bit older. I know he wants to spend some time with the kids in these key years here. But you could potentially, we just saw him win a race last season on a road course where he beat Kyle Larson and AJ Allmendinger. So
in some pretty
in RSS equipment. When they're driving Hendrick and colleague cars, right? So I think that both of these guys are going to be guys we'll talk about each and every week. They should be near the top of the favorites. You put a guy like Eric Almirola on these short flat tracks in this car, he's going to be really hard to beat. We saw what John Hunter did last season, and I expect a lot more of that from him this season. So, this Gibbs car will be one we talk about probably every single week, no matter which of these drivers is in there. Maybe you get some Ty Gibbs in there, which I'd love to see. I'll be betting on it if that's the case, and maybe some of the other JGR Cup Series guys. Maybe Eric Jones even jumps in this car. Who knows? He's got that legacy kind of back in the Gibbs fold again now. So it'll be interesting to see it. But this car is going to be one that's talked about probably weekly.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially with that cast of drivers, I definitely see us betting on that 20 car more often than not. I think this is more of a head-to-head top 5 market, top 3 market, depending on what we're given. So, all right, let's move on. 44 car, Brendan Poole. Is that even noteworthy? Alpha Prime in the 44. No. I don't think. Yeah, we're not really gonna be talking about Brendan Poole very much. And listen, Brendan, we love you. Again, I'll have a beer with you any day of the week. But really, honestly, what are we doing?
As far as betting on you, it's not really a profitable deal.
Not even a little. All right, this next one though, very intriguing. The number 81, another JGR car.
You found the favorite change.
Found the favorite change. Flip the 18, go to 81. It's Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith going to be driving that 81.
Yes.
That's going to be a pretty little. They're no sponsor yet, but this is a very good move for everybody involved.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. Like I mentioned earlier, love Sheldon Creed to Gibbs. There's one driver I love even more, and it's this one. It's Chandler Smith. We saw last year in not top tier equipment at Colleague what he could do. Won a race. He led another. Was it one of the one where we cashed Austin Hill as he passed Chandler Smith after Chandler dominated the race and cashed like a 25-1, which was great. But yeah, Chandler, I mean, what he showed in the Colleague equipment, what he showed in the Truck Series and KBM equipment, he's an elite driver. Now you put him in the fastest cars every week. And again, this 81 car, like kind of throwing it back to a number it's been around for Gibbs in the past. I mean, Jeffrey Earnhardt drove it a couple of years ago, had some other guys in the 81. Junior drove this number in Xfinity for a while as well. Love the name or the number change, the difference there. But yeah, Chandler probably going to be, I'm very interested to see where his championship odds are at, because he's definitely a guy I'm going to be looking towards. I think that Chandler Smith is going to have a great season. I see 5, 6. I don't want to go to 10 because I did that last year with Custer and didn't work out. But could I see 5, 6, 7 wins from Chandler Smith? I wouldn't be shocked at all. I think that Chandler Smith is going to be probably one of the very top drivers this season. This JGR equipment is just so elite. This is one of the 2 full-time drivers, right? So you're going to have the 4 cars, which JGR's had in the past. And that's an expansion because last year we really only saw the 3, but they've had 4 in the past. That's not been an issue for them. We know they've got the resources, but you've got the 2 guys that are going to be there every single week in Sheldon Creed and Chandler Smith. Those are going to be the top dogs. Yeah, the 20 car will be in there plenty. Yeah, the 19 will be in there plenty, but these 2 cars are going to be on a championship path a majority of the season. Expect them to be very good. And I'm going to be betting a lot on Chandler Smith this season. He's probably going to be one of my favorites in the Xfinity Series. As far as guys I'm circling to win money on, because I'm very, very excited for this opportunity for him. I think it's just, again, Colleague is a good team, right? And they're here, but JGR is a great team and they're very top of the board. And you know, JRM's up there, but I put JGR even a little bit higher. They're the top of the top. They're the fastest cars every week, like we talked about last season. If that holds up again this year, Chandler Smith is going to go on a tear.
Well, Jesus, Cody, if you're giving Chandler Smith and Sheldon Creed 15 wins apiece this season,
Yeah, we've only got like 5 more races.
Who else is going to win a race?
Like nobody, apparently.
Oh my God.
We still haven't accounted for all our for John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Almirola's wins.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a very crazy season. But I will say that I am excited as well for Chandler Smith. He finished average 15.6 last season, where he started 9.5, 13 top 10s, 8 top 5s. He did have that win, led 318 laps. I mean, again, he did this all in that 16 car, and really, to me, it was he was driving better than the equipment, and obviously a road courses, and Allmendinger drives better than the equipment too when he's in that car. So to be able to get into JGR equipment, granted, hopefully he gets the same amount of love and attention that Sheldon Creed gets. Like you said, there's 2 full-time cars. I think they're going to do that. So to see the 81 out there, I think we're going to get quite a few good bets on Chandler Smith. We did last year. I mean, he was always one of the guys that we always found good numbers on, and he always delivered. So
yeah, he made us quite a bit of money last year, and so I hope his numbers don't get too neutered this year because of how fast he's going to be. But yeah, he's a guy we're going to be betting on a lot and talking about every single week, I think.
But does he belong in the favorites of the championship? Like, does he belong up there?
I mean, who are you going to put above him? You look at it, right? I think him and Sheldon Creed have to be near the top, right? Who else do you have that's full-time? You've got to give Sam Mayer the respect, right? He earned it at the end of last season.
Got to give Allgaier.
Justin Allgaier, he's got to get his due because he's always up there. And Custer's the defending champion. So I think those 3 guys are maybe the 3 you could see ahead of them. I kind of hope you do, because if he's 4th or 5th on the board, yes, please. But yeah, you've got to put him in that top 5, I think, along with Sheldon. I think that they kind of go there with Allgaier, with Mayer, with Allmendinger in that group. And I would bet either of those guys over AJ to win the championship. Mayer, Allgaier, they're definitely going to have their conversation in there. I mean, what Mayer did at the end of last season was so impressive, very close to winning a championship. Allgaier had his chance at a championship as well. So yeah, I think that's the elite group that these guys belong in. And they're not newcomers, right? It's not a young guy with promise and talent coming into this car, which we've seen before in Ty Gibbs. And what does he do his first full-time season in that, right? He goes out, wins the championship. Even John Hunter, it was, he was a cup guy and then a truck. Like, these are guys that have already had full Xfinity seasons under their belts. They outperformed the cars they were in, and now they're getting a big upgrade in car. Yes, please. I love so much about both of their situations, and I think that it's going to be a really good thing for JGR this year.
All right, but I know you said 600 wins for Chandler Smith this season, but what's a realistic total that you would feel comfortable betting at?
I think you've got to at least set him at 1.5, probably 2.5, right? Because he did have
2.5.
Was it just one win last season?
It was the one win, yeah.
And he really should have won the other race. I mean, 2 laps to go that he was passed, and it ended up finishing in third. But I think 2.5 is probably where you set it. And again, I have no problem taking the over. I would easily take the over. Like I said, I can see him getting quite a few wins. So I would even probably be comfortable betting him over 3.5. That's how confident I am in Chandler Smith. I don't think the number should be set that high. I think 2.5 is a very realistic number. That's probably where it's at. If it's 1.5, view that as a gift and just take it. But yeah, I think 2.5 is probably appropriate, and I'll easily lean to the over.
All right. Well, then his former team is now welcoming a Aussie in the mix. Notable that the 10 car is obviously no longer going to be racing. So enter the number 97. All hail Shane Van Gisbergen, or Gisbergen. How does Dale Jr. He always like
he does, yeah, he messes it up, but he's Dale Jr., so he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like
we'll just call him SVG.
SVG brings WeatherTech into the fold for Colleague Racing. He will run the full season now after winning every race in Chicago that you could possibly win. Okay, look, I know how excited everybody else is, and I know how not excited you are.
And see, that's not fair because I am excited for him. I'm just not. It's one of those things where, like, I just have level expectations for him, and everybody else thinks he's Jesus, and they've got him way up here, and it's like, can he just be good right here? Like, he's going to be good. He's going to be solid. Colleague's an okay team. He's going to compete at the road courses. I think he'll have a chance to win some road courses. Xfinity's going to Chicago again this season. He'll be able to race that. We know he's going to be running. The one maybe concern, and I don't know. I don't really. I need to kind of go back and look at how his career has gone. We know he's a championship type of driver over in the whatever series that is, the Australian supercars.
Yeah, supercars.
Yeah, and we've seen guys come here and have success, right, from that series. Guys like who drove the 9 car for a while, Marcos Ambrose, right? We saw him have a lot of success in the Cup Series and be competitive and have solid rides. And in Van Gisbergen, it's going to be a solid season, I think, for him. So this is his full-time ride. He'll be every week in the 97 for Colleague. He's going to be running Cup Series races, likely for Trackhouse, maybe for Colleague as well. Maybe he fills in some of those 16 races, right? The 16 car. They've only got 1 race for a driver so far. So maybe he'll fill in some of those rides as they've got that partnership with Trackhouse. He's going to be running in the Truck Series with Nice part-time. There's been talk about him doing some Cars Tour stuff. Justin Mark, not our friend Justin Marks, but Justin Mark owns, he's one of the part owners of the Cars Tour. So maybe Van Gisbergen does that. Kyle Larson wants him to come do high limit stuff in that. We'll see. He's done some sprint dirt stuff. So does he have his hand in too many pots where it gets to be overwhelming? He's just moved to America. That's a big change for him and his family, right? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think that, again, everybody just has such high expectations that I think it's going to be hard to bet on him because he's going to come out and his numbers are just going to be way higher than it should be because everybody's so high on him. Everybody thinks he's Jesus. And again, what he did was so impressive. Coming in and winning a Cup Series in your first start, it's amazing. It's great. We saw it later on at the road course, just like we said, it wasn't going to be the same thing. It wasn't going to be easy, right? You're not you were going to his type of thing that nobody else had done. That's why it was easier for him. Not that that made it easy and just smooth sailing, but it made it easier for him to take that. Even this year at the Cup race in Chicago, it's not just going to be the SVG show, I don't think. But again, I think if everybody could just bring their expectations down a little bit, I feel like he's going to have a solid season. We saw him run that truck race at IRP, ran 15th or 13th or something like that, a good solid day. That's kind of what you want from him. Again, colleague, not the top level cars that you think some people seem to think maybe, but he's going to have an okay season. And I think maybe if he's running in that 10th to 15th, again, like a Haley Deegan, like, is this another situation where we're just putting too high expectations on a driver because of who they are, because of where they're coming from, much like with the Deegan? Maybe if you lower the expectations a little bit, I think he'll match those lowered expectations and may snag a win or two on some road courses. I don't think that's out of the question for sure. But yeah, I think everybody just bring it back down a little bit. Going to be interesting to see how he does a full slog of a season on ovals. He's not used to running ovals. It's going to be changes for him for sure. So I'll be interested. It'll be interesting to see where his win total's set at. That's probably the only way I would attack betting a future, and I would probably look towards the under, depending on where it's at. But yeah, otherwise his number is just going to be so inflated. Again, it's the Josh Berry syndrome of everybody's so high on him, and it's like, pump the brakes. We don't need to be this high quite yet.
If it's me, I'm setting it at half a win, but I'm not juicing the over.
You're going to get so much action on the over, though. Like,
well,
you're going to have so much liability on if he wins that Chicago race.
Yeah,
that's why I think it's going to have to be set at 1.5, because I think even at 1.5, enough people are so high on him, they're going to smash over 1.5. And I think that your smart money would probably be on under that, but there's still a chance it could go either way. You're going to get probably a lot of public money on the over, but the under should hit. I don't know. Again, probably not one I would really take, but I think 1.5 would be the appropriate place to set it. If you set it at 2.5, I'm going to have a lot of money on the under.
Yeah, the under is the easy way to go there, because he did. So you're right. He won Chicago, finished 10th at IRP. His truck race, his only truck race of the season, he started 28th, finished 19th in the 41 Nice truck. So a top 20 finish there. And look, for a guy, 63 career wins in the supercars, 152 career podiums.
It's a great race car driver. Again, I don't want to come off like I hate the guy or like I don't think he's accomplished a lot, because he has. I just think that this is different, and that's it's such a different thing. And not that he can't be good at it, because he's gonna learn it and he's gonna be good. And look, we're gonna see him in the Cup Series in a couple of years in a full-time Trackhouse car. Like, that's just the way it's trending, and they love him so much, and there's opportunities and whatever, and so that's fine. And I think he'll be okay, but you just got to give him some time still to adjust to everything, because it's not the same thing as over there. If he was running full time and they're racing Chicago street course every week, all right, maybe he is the championship, right? But that's not what we're doing. It's one street course that he's used to, right? And then there's a couple of road courses, yes, and he'll be good at those. But all these ovals, and he's not even, I don't think he's raced a super speedway ever before. He has to run the ARCA race to even qualify to run in the Xfinity race coming up here in Daytona. And yeah, so I think, again, let's pump the brakes, lower the expectations. He's going to have an okay season. It's going to be a decent season, I think, but it's not going to be some great season.
We just get to watch it play out. Really, that's all there is to it. I mean, this is we get a front row seat to it. Granted, we'll just keep an eye on the numbers week in and week out, and decide whether or not we want to take a shot on whether or not, or where we want to put our money on him, if we want to put it at all. It's really the long and the short of it. So, all right. I believe we have reached the end of everybody that's noteworthy in the driver changes for Xfinity. Again, another decent sized list to go over, but this was a lot of power packed drivers making changes and changing to some pretty powerful teams.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple other things to keep an eye on: the 38 car RSS. I mean, it'll probably be Sieg again, Kyle Sieg, I would imagine, running majority of that. But again, probably not something you're gonna. Or no, I guess Kyle's running the 28, which is what he ran last year. So 38 will probably just be a rotating cast again. And the 26 car, I'll be interested to see, and the 24, really both the Sam Hunt cars. again, we talked about it last year, right? Not the best cars ever, but had some decent runs. We saw Gralla do pretty decent in that 26 car. Be interesting. And then the 25 too is the other notable one. The AM Racing, of course, that's where Deegan's going in the 15. 25, they're expected to bring that car back. Brett Moffitt's still kind of out there without a job. I'd like to see him come back to that car. I think that would be good. But yeah, interesting ones to keep an eye on. Probably aren't really gonna shape much of your betting season for the most part.
No, indeed. All right. Well, then we will go over the Cup Series tomorrow and give you some of the driver changes. Not quite as action packed as this one, but still some decent moves. Yeah, obviously some drivers clearing out to make way for some new folks and new faces and new drives and new rides. And then of course a gigantic leap from Toyota or from Chevy to Toyota for an entire team. So we'll talk about that as well. So Cody, in the meantime, as we send everybody away, remind everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yep. Follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my work over there. And let's do it again tomorrow. We'll talk about the Cup Series. Excited for that. And oh man, we're getting closer. We're inching there, Rod.
Inching. I cannot wait for the season to begin. Cannot wait to break it all down. Cannot wait for you to find me on X. Well, yes, find me on Twitter. At RJ Villagomez, link in the bio to everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether I'm in the club, wherever it may be, just follow me there. All right. Before I get in any more trouble and the law starts to come after me, we'll see you guys tomorrow with some Cup Series talk. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.